Really close to that.
3, 2, 1, go.
He always does that. It's always really fast, and you like not really
not
prepared
expecting
for
that.
It, but, yeah.
We are. What are we going to talk about?
What are we going to talk about?
This has been a while.
It's
You
been
can
a while.
listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, BitChute, kind of. BitChute.
Kind of.
We haven't been uploading as much. Like, we haven't been keeping it up to date. But there's still a lot of episodes on there. You can check them out for sure. And I'll probably start uploading it to the alternative platforms, because it seems like YouTube and all of these platforms are starting to censor a little bit.
Censor a lot.
Yeah.
But which ones? Which
I've heard Rumble is pretty good, or
Rumble?
Library.
I've heard of Rumble. I've never heard of Library.
Yeah, there's 2 video platforms.
I have not heard of any of those. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Well, get on.
I like the Spotify
Justin.
one, though. That's what I check you guys out on.
Oh,
Spotify. Yeah.
I don't
Shout
think
out
Spotify.
Spotify.
Yeah,
Spotify's
Spotify
not
doesn't
bad.
seem
Yeah.
that bad, except with the whole Joe Rogan escapade.
Who knows what happened there, though?
Exactly.
But
Justin Keeling.
Justin
How'd you do?
Keeling.
This is me.
This is you. That is you. How's it going, man?
Oh, I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good for sure. Just staying busy. School. Finishing out the last semester of my college career.
Where are you going for this?
The Ohio State University.
Like the Ohio State? Like
The
Do
Ohio
you know that
State.
stupid Lima Branch?
Yeah,
place?
actually, I went there. Yeah, I went there 2 years, and then made the switch. But I've been at the main campus. This is my 3rd year now because I switched majors.
Did you really?
I did.
Well, what are you going for now?
It is called. It's not very well known. It's EADS is the acronym. It's the
EADS?
Environment,
Okay.
Economy, and Developmental Sustainability. It is a very small program that it's gotten recent. Can we? I can't. Think
Nope. You're good. You're good, dude. Just keep going, man.
It's gotten recent attention by more people. Like, I think it started like 8 years ago, and they started out with like 20 kids, and now there's like 150. So
What's it called?
Really?
it's called EADS,
EADS.
the Environment, the Economy, and Developmental Sustainability. It's a growing interest amongst young college students.
What's their main goal?
Well, my specialty is business sustainability, but there's other specialties that I can't really actually say what they are because I don't know. But my focus is just like sustainable business practices and stuff, and that's what I'm interested in.
Does that go along with your major?
Yeah, it's a specialization in the major itself. So there's like, I think probably 3 different specializations in the same, you get the same degree, but like different specializations. So you take a little bit different classes. I took some classes that were more business administration kind of. I'm in one now that are a little bit different than maybe some of the other specializations, but for the most part, the solid foundation is the same. So we talk about like what I thought was interesting. I mean, when people think about sustainability, they think of, I don't know, at least me, I think of the environment first. I don't know, what do you guys think about? So when you hear sustainability, what do you think?
When I hear sustainability, I think about making shit just last longer.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Being like
Sustainability,
efficient, like, I
last
don't know,
long.
like just like,
I don't know necessarily efficiency.
Yeah.
To me, it's more about just making stuff last longer.
which is important, especially when we've only got like limited amount of resources. That's why I think it's important for people to understand what sustainability is. It's interesting how some people might not know really at all about it, but there's some really interest people that devour sustainability in terms of like inequality sustainability or environment sustainability or resource management kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different ways you could look at sustainability or view it. So EADS, they hit it on inequality and the environment mostly. So
inequality.
What
like,
about inequality or where?
Like
inequality?
Like just underserved communities, kind of. So like people-based sustainability. Like it doesn't make sense to like have like the poverty gap pretty much between the rich and poor. That's kind of what it's a problem, and they try to like educate you on what we can do to maybe split that gap a little bit more. So
what are some of the options that you can actually do there?
So what one thing that I'm in my capstone class.
Senior
big
year
stuff. Yeah. Woo.
What?
It's actually really cool. I was not looking forward to it, but after getting acquainted with it, it's really a cool idea, and I'm really proud to actually be a part of it. So we're working with different sustainability groups.
What's the capstone class?
It's just EADS capstone.
EADS capstone. Okay, gotcha.
It so the program's only like I said 8 years, but so they get a group of students who are in their final year of EADS, and they go with different groups located in Columbus who are working in Columbus to do these sustainability goals and stuff. So we're actually working with community outreach programs to underserved communities through tree giveaways through a nursery, two nurseries in Columbus area that they give away free trees to people.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's related. I don't know, you guys have heard of the urban heat island effect? Urban heat island effect. Some pretty sophisticated stuff. I'm throwing these big words at you. Not really. So it's pretty much like Columbus is I don't know if you guys have been to Columbus. You went to Columbus, Frank, right?
I've been through there multiple times.
Well, it's growing insanely fast. And so they're putting up all kinds of buildings and stuff, and they're cutting down a lot of green space. So these underserved communities is where they're developing kind of more than other places. And so there's not much green space around those areas anymore. So with things like climate change and global warming, these areas are like more affected by it because they don't have any of this green space to kind of mitigate the effects of.
So you do the tree program to get just to help people push them in the right direction at least.
Yeah. So this one, the tree nursery, it's been around. It's in Columbus. Like you can look them up. Green Columbus. Shout out to them. They're cool dudes. They're a volunteer thing. They're a nonprofit. They're just trying to help different people in community of Columbus. So this happens to be a project where we're working with tree nurseries that are trying to give away trees for free. So that, and they're trying to target these areas who are more affected by this urban heat island effect.
So what got you into the whole environmental? Because I know you have a green thumb.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a tree hugger. I love my trees.
I love my trees too.
I like trees that give me oxygen. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that.
that's kind of important, huh?
But what kind of got you all started on this path?
I think I consciously thought in high school and stuff that I wanted to do something
outdoors.
Yeah, like that definitely is of interest to me, but even like just sustainability kind of intrigued me because I thought I had watched some documentaries and stuff that really showed, like, it focused in on the problems that we have at hand that I think it's common knowledge but not common knowledge too, which it's interesting. But it sent me in the direction to maybe take care of what we have here on Earth better than what we do, and to not exploit our environment so much. So I thought I was going to do something along the lines of renewable energy type stuff. But then, so I thought, and I realized this later in the program actually, that the answer isn't renewable energy only. There's you have to. It's a lot bigger problem than just.
No, but what got you interested in just was there besides the documentaries and everything, was there certain
just being a part of nature, just
because what you enjoy growing, growing plants, and everything.
And so I actually I always liked to hang out and play outside and stuff as a kid. So, but what really I think got me was when I moved to Columbus and saw all the metro parks and stuff. It's like in Salina, you don't really have that, I don't think. And so I wasn't really aware of it And so when I moved to Columbus, that's really what sparked my my interest of it. And I think I started growing some plants and food in my a house that I lived at, and I still live at.
What kind of plants were you growing?
Actually a lot now. Just like food, pretty much. So I'm getting kind of sidetracked here. Food wise, it's like kale, broccoli, carrots, onions.
What'd you grow
tomatoes,
What'd you grow the most of?
You grow a lot.
Probably the most cucumbers and tomatoes.
Did you have like a little box thing that you kind of grew it in, or you had like a nice little area outside?
Raised beds.
Raised beds, okay.
Yeah, that's like kind of the swing that people are doing in urban areas. Yeah. They're just putting out raised beds, and then you can go. I mean, because you can kind of split the beds up and grow different things in the same bed, so that's which is good. But I think what I mostly grew was cucumbers, planted way more than probably should have, and so I pickled a lot of them. And then
dude,
so
hell yeah.
So I've become like just aware,
self-sufficient. You're
trying to
be self-sufficient.
Yeah, and I think that I do have an interest to be self-sufficient, and that's what I plan on doing as my life's work is to
well, that goes right hand in hand with sustainability, because to have sustainability, you need to have everyone somewhat self-sufficient. Like
exactly, and you can't you have to know how to support yourself, and you can't rely even that we rely on like places out in California growing different vegetables and fruits and stuff. Then they ship it here, and so it's a more local based stuff that you grow stuff and you eat stuff that's in season. Rather than
and that's how it used to be. I mean, if you look back, a lot of used to have a tomato farm on our farm.
Did you?
We still have the tomato signs that they're selling tomatoes. But a lot of all that stuff was grown locally until recent. They needed mass production.
When they created the freezer trucks that could keep stuff cold and ship it 13 hours away.
Dude, that shit is that's the one thing I think is if those things go, everyone's gonna be fucked up.
Dude, I mean, it's crazy how.
Because imagine all those places that are in the deserts and shit that they need those freezer trucks to get their food.
Yeah, they don't have a way to get food.
They can't grow it either. They're in the damn desert.
Yeah. Well, so what place are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Like a desert, like
Arizona?
Yeah.
Just there's a lot of drier and
the climate is different. Yeah, which it makes sense not to be maybe inhabit that kind of land too.
Oh yeah, it definitely makes sense.
I mean, yeah. So there's definitely a problem with.
We're just able to now just because of this.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we don't have to provide the food for ourselves, which. It's convenient for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong.
But I feel like it'll eventually come and bite everybody in the ass.
Yeah, I mean,
once you don't have that, then it's
people are going to be shocked. And
I hope we never get to that point.
Because it just. I mean, you just have to adapt and not have those foods and just go out and get your own food.
Yeah, think about it. When you go to the store, like you plan your meals for the week or whatever, you go to the store and buy those foods. If that's taken away from you, it takes a while to grow food. I don't know if you're aware.
Exactly.
It's not just going to be like, oh, okay, I got to plant food. Here it is. And then 2 months later, you finally have maybe some food. But yeah, it's interesting.
That's the sad part is people actually probably think like, oh yeah, I can just grow this real fast, easy, whatever,
exactly.
man.
Yeah, then they realize it's like 100 days to get some corn.
I have to actually take care of this plant. Like, what?
It's not.
The soil has properties that I have to be concerned about. What?
Yeah. I think it's very sad, and it's not really.
I don't necessarily mean it's sad. I think it's sad in the fact that it's not nobody's educated on it.
Yeah, and I think we've lost connection with how we are supposed to treat our land, and that I think we've lost connection with man thinks we're better than nature, and you guys might be a little bit disagree with that, but
no, nature's gonna.
But nature always, I mean, just like, I don't know, what was that, the town in like China or whatever, that a nuclear reactor went off and then like people had to evacuate the whole entire city. I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
All I know is China's fucked right now because they have massive flooding and shit.
Yeah. Oh, Before the Flood is a good documentary. Just if you haven't watched that, Leonardo DiCaprio and actually Frank Gore. Al Gore. I don't know.
Al Gore, the president?
No, he wasn't the president.
No, not the president, but he ran for president.
Yeah, so him and Leonardo DiCaprio made this killer.
He's the one in the South Park, the man bad pig.
Oh, yeah. Well, he had some definitely radical probably ideas, but he wasn't too far off.
You got to take it with a grain of salt, though, because that's the same guy that said 30 years ago, the world's cooling, we're all going to die because it's going to be another ice age. And then
I think actually, if you look at it historically, we're cooler than we have been before. So maybe that's what he was talking about.
I mean, historically, we're coming out of an ice age.
Yeah, we still have ice. So it's
historically, the world's a lot warmer than it is now.
Yes, for sure.
So it's like, is the global warming, I guess the argument comes to, is the global warming increased by us or is it not?
I think we accelerate it. And I think at a rate at which that nature cannot like keep up with. It cannot sustain the exploitation that we put on it. I've read about that a bit, and my theory of it all is that we are using, like the fossil fuels being used and the carbon being burned, is we're re-energizing the environment at this point. I know that sounds weird
because all the plants take in carbon.
Mm-hmm. Well, no,
carbon.
The reason why I say that is because like a period in time, the crustaceans roamed the earth, and they were the most of crustaceans, shellfish especially, grew to such large sizes of shells. And that takes calcium, I believe, to grow to that sizes of shells. Calcium is made by a lot of carbon in the air and carbon in the environment. And they were using so much carbon that the levels of carbon dioxide in the world were decreasing at such a large rate that the plants wouldn't even have enough carbon dioxide to grow off of. Mm-hmm. But I believe there was like like extinction or something like that caused them to all die out. They went to the bottom of the ocean. History.
Yeah, I think this might kind of relate to that. I think there's a general misconception about carbon being bad. Yeah. I think that like when people talk about global warming, they're like, oh, we're putting too much carbon into the air. Well, there is a ton of carbon in the air for sure, and I think humans definitely add to that, but everything is made out of carbon too. Like even when you plant a tree, it grows, when it dies, and
we're
falls
carbon-based life forms.
Exactly.
That's how we date everything.
Exactly.
We use carbon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's good and bad. Like you have to have carbon. And that's what you're talking about, kind of about soil. Carbon is needed for the soil to be productive.
Don't get me wrong. Like I'm all for. It's a lot of the thing that just makes me annoyed is how it's not just. I'm completely fine with the carbon being let. It's the stuff that comes with the carbon that's being let. Mm-hmm. And to me, the biggest problem is...
Wait, what do you mean there?
Like the other pollutants that come with carbon, like sulfur and shit.
And methane.
Methane and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think the biggest problem is mostly the non-modern country, post-industrial societies. Post-industrial societies. How to think about it.
I know the feeling, man.
But it's like a lot of these post-industrial societies have not... It's like India and China are the biggest polluters.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're dumping.
And it's like...
Because everything's made there.
Yeah, I just get annoyed when it's like America is the reason. It's like America has tried their damn hardest in Europe too. It's like, and they're stepping in the right direction. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of what EADS looks into. It's not, you can't just solve the problem with
the environment and climate and everything.
Just carbon emissions. You can't fix it only emissions based. So because regardless, if we stopped emitting carbon into the atmosphere today, there's still tons of carbon in the air. That's what the problem is.
One volcano goes off and then it's refilled completely.
Or, I mean, there's just, like, you have to find a way to, one, cut down your emissions, but also to harvest that.
I'm pretty sure all we have to do is just kill all the fucking cows. Let's be honest here, guys.
I think it's almost like the sustainability and climate change. I think it was wrong to tie those together because it was like you're better off keeping them separate because it's almost like climate change has become politicized where it's like
I think it's just everyone thinks it's gonna literally kill us all, and it's I don't think it's like it's gonna yes is the climate changing? It is, but it's not going to kill us.
I will point out climate changes naturally too.
Exactly.
I think it's just at an unnatural rate is what the problem is, and then we cannot sustain ourselves if we continue to emit at this rate that we are.
I agree that we can't sustain ourselves at this rate, but it makes me think like the times that humans definitely change is because we're so lazy. Like we'll only really change if it reaches that point to where
and when it smacks you in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're part of the people that are maybe their homes are getting destroyed by hurricanes and stuff like that, then it slaps you in the face with climate change and stuff. And people like in Ohio, we're gifted with plenty of water. It's not super hot. We do have cold periods, like, but people like in deserts and stuff, desertification, where millions of people are getting shoved off their land just because it can't inhabit it. It's like a desert. There's no water. There's nothing there. So it's not really affecting us. We're not at that point yet. So that's why I think we're not doing as much as we maybe could, because it's not really affecting us as much as it is other people.
Oh yeah, I think so. I just the fact where people are like, oh, the sea is rising like centimeters a day or like centimeters a year is like, well, it's going to kill us all, because all you do is take a step back and
I think if they're saying the sea rising is going to kill us all, they might be a little cuckoo. A lot
of people are saying that, and like the wildfires, and like it's kind of funny because it's just in California. I don't see it anywhere else. That's not my problem with like this whole climate change thing right now.
Yeah, I think it's a little weird too, because a lot of the, not even a lot, but like I've seen quite a few people. It's like they preach it and everything, and it's like they want somebody else to solve the problem rather than.
That just seems like everything right now.
I think that turns down to people are too lazy to make changes in their own lives.
We're too used to it, too comfortable.
Yeah, we're too.
Like our brains will always seek to be like. That's why you procrastinate. We'll seek to be lazy. Yeah. It's like you'll seek comfortability. Because you find it's like you feel safe in comfortability. That's why
you should always. It's like a just
breaking out of your comfort zone.
Stoic.
Whatever.
You should always kind of look for discomfort, just because it's probably the best way.
That's when you grow.
Yeah, you can
do no pain,
stuff.
no gain, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of related to like when people actually see the effects of it themselves, then they're gonna be like, okay, well, maybe we should probably do this or that, like to actually change about it. I think I know it's people have such an easy time to hate on it because maybe they're not. I don't know. There's like when like 97% of like scientists all agree that climate change.
I don't agree with that at all.
Well,
97%.
Yeah,
you don't agree with the 97%?
Because it's like why does half the population disagree with it? It's like when you have half. That's why I mean it's like either
I think it's an educational thing. That's what I think.
Is it an educational thing? Because if it is educational, then you can think about it's easier to teach smart dogs new tricks than it is easier to teach a dumb dog tricks.
I just think it's the people, like when they say 97% of people, scientists agree, I just think those people are getting more airtime than the actual people who disagree with it.
More airtime?
like their voice is being heard a lot more just because the people are like...
The point I'm making about the 50% of the population disagreeing with it, it's like... You have, and it's mostly the right side disagrees with the whole climate change. That's to me at least. That's what I feel.
I would agree.
And does that show a bias towards institutions, or does that show an untrusting towards institutions? Because you get where I'm coming from. It's like if 97% of scientists agree that climate change is affecting us, and half the population disagree with it, is it a problem with institutions?
Yeah, I wonder. What I think of is like, okay, so we as a people believe textbooks that scientists wrote and did the research on. We'll be taught that in a class and just believe it. You know, I don't think it's any different from climate scientists saying that and us deciding to believe it or not.
I think the vast majority of the people want to take care of the environment and want to see this environment thrive. Just the way it's going about,
maybe how it's like
how people are going about.
It's being almost forced rather than it's like a gradual. It's like you're saying, it's an education problem. Maybe we need a gradual.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like there's like a video. There's a video of all the past presidents since like Carter, I think, who have all stated in their. In some of their speeches, we need to make a change to renewable energies. Every single one of them has said it, but we're not actually. And this is like research has been.
It's like why does the government have to solve that though?
I think I'm not saying that I think the government has to be the one that should always solve everybody's problems, but I think because people refuse to make any change themselves, so you have to kind of regulate it in some sort of way. Like big businesses, like with pollutants in the air, like
I don't know.
They're gonna.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of big companies who just did it on their own because it's better. Again, I think the vast majority of people want to see this world succeed and want to see this environment succeed.
Yeah.
It's just
people.
So
what they want and what they do though is a totally different thing.
I just think it's like the only people that are going to not listen to the regulation are the big businesses, because it's like the person has to listen to it, because if they don't, they're fined an exuberant amount of money. But a big business will keep polluting it, regardless of whatever regulations
they just have
put
to
on it.
pay for it. Which, that's probably not the best way to go about it, for sure. And I think, it's impossible to, I'm not saying we have to completely stop any pollution, because, it's not possible. That's, I don't think, reasonable even.
To me, it's like the end goal of it all is like, what's the main problem of Earth? Humans.
For sure.
We just got to end all humans then. That's what the end goal is, it seems to me. It's like, well, how do you stop climate change? You kill all the humans.
That would probably work, honestly, yeah.
Well, it actually wouldn't, because we just have a bunch of carbon in the air because we're all dead and we all just produce a bunch of carbon in the air. So technically we're die. Oh, I know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying is like the end goal is just odd to me.
Yeah, I think
how much blame, it's like, I don't think it's the individual person. I think it's mainly the big companies. They've gone so big because of the regulation, the regulation has almost provided a gatekeeping of it. Because it's like, I can't produce as much as you because you're so big at this point, you'll just pay the fine and disregard it.
Yeah, true. I see your point. I also think those big companies, how they're getting their money. People have to be buying their product.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it could also be a matter of your own personal decision making, what you put your money into and what you don't. So like I'm not stepping up on my high horse here or nothing, but I buy organic foods, and I think that's a major problem. And I know it's like my grandpa makes fun of me all the time about it. He's like, oh, damn pesticide, who cares, But
it's
funny.
The whole thing about the organic is weird to me, because it's like you need a certification to be
a problem.
Selling. That's what I mean. It's like we haven't sprayed pesticides on our fields in years.
Yeah, which I want to talk to you about that.
But we don't go and get organically certified.
Exactly. Is this true that if it's labeled organic, that it only has to be a certain percent of it in that that's organic, and not even the rest of it's not even organic?
I couldn't honestly tell you that. I don't know. What do you think, Frank?
Probably. Yeah. The biggest problem is a lot of the regulation that it's the people that are writing the laws. I have the biggest problem.
They're just a bunch of.
It's because they're being lobbied by these big businesses to write these laws that allow the big.
It's a bunch of retards telling a bunch of other retards what to do, and it's just like, well, what do we do? Well, I don't know. Just leave us alone. That's pretty much what it is.
But I think the problem, even though, I think it's come to a point where they had to get certified and stuff, because people just blatantly lie about it. Not that they're not blatantly lying about it being certified or whatever. I don't know all what they have to, the loopholes they have to jump through and stuff. But if there is no system in place to keep people in check, then what's to say they're not just, they're not going to use those pesticides in the first place,
But what's to say that the system is, it's like you can look back at the Jungle by Arthur Sinclair. Did he write The Jungle? The book during the Industrial Revolution. That was about the meat quality and the child labor.
That was the Jungle, the book Jungle.
Yeah, was that Arthur Sinclair?
I don't know who wrote it.
And regulation and laws and everything like that, there already are laws.
Sinclair.
And yet people break them. Well, no, people break the law.
The point I'm making is all the time. That book changed the laws. It exposed it, and that's what I mean. It's almost like you don't need the government to write these regulations. You just need to get people educated about it.
Well, that could very well be. And
not to say that it's no regulation is all regulation's bad. I get there has to be a baseline at this point, because it's like you have these companies that are so big, You can't stop it. As much as that hurts me to say, as like a very anti-government person.
Yeah.
But I understand the predicament we're in.
Yeah. So then that comes down to like doing stuff on your own and then providing your own food and stuff. That I mean, you don't have to rely on a big business to
not at
do
all.
all that. Yeah. So
even in like
100%
cities,
you can do that.
even in cities like where you're close together, people don't think that they have any. They're like, oh, I don't have any land or anything. It's like you have the sun.
Not true. 100%.
The sun's real powerful.
Like I think I don't know that it's like 18 trillion megawatts or something. There's like a day, like 18 trillion a day or something.
Yeah.
Like amount of power that it has. It's just insane. But yeah.
And I like it. I like the whole. I don't necessarily like the politicized climate movement, but I like the whole movement towards renewable energies. I do like. I completely agree with that. And it's not even like that. It's also it goes back to the self-sufficiency. It's like we rely too much on these big oil companies. It's like we had our own oil pumps at our property, and I had our own natural gas well, and like we were self-sufficient in that aspect. Like we would have used it as much as we could. But it's like we would have reached a point. But now, because in the 70s they actually went around and shut a lot of the private wells. They went and sealed them because they didn't want the local person to make their own oil or natural gas.
So they had to be paying someone else to.
So they had to be paying someone else. That's what I mean. It's like, we've grown. It's like the big companies are the biggest problem that have gotten to the point they're so big because of the government's involvement.
I see your point. Yeah.
And it's like I agree that the education is a big part in why we're at where we're at.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, like, honestly, I don't know. I don't remember any growing up in high school or even before that, anything about climate really. I mean, and even basics. I mean, I don't know, we went over like the water cycle that I can come up with, but I don't think we learned even the basic functions of how our environment works.
Well, isn't that just another government thing saying like this is the curriculum you have to follow?
That's true. Yeah.
True. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and they teach us worthless craps like,
and they teach everyone the same exact way.
This is just
like,
the whole. I just can't stand the education system at all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The weirdest part to me is like, I find it. This might be mean to say, but it's like a lot of the teachers they have never gotten out of school either.
Yeah, true.
The ones teaching it are the ones that literally have not left school at all their entire lives.
And it's unionized and everything like that.
Yeah,
like you can't fire crappy teachers.
Exactly, they move them.
Yeah, they just move them.
And that's what I mean. It's like the government's involvement. Unions aren't necessarily government's involvement, but
but they got too big.
It's like whenever it's definitely a big. Whenever power's too centralized, it seems to just ruin a lot of shit.
I mean, that's what's kind of like going on right now with the like COVID and people not want to go back to just the school. The teachers' unions are like saying like no, but like literally every science has said like.
I would if I ever.
West always believe in some scientists. Are you sure, dude?
If I ever like had kids, I would definitely homeschool them. Until probably at least high school, just so they get, or middle school, just
like
so it's
you
like,
as a you would maybe be their teacher or hire
no,
someone
yeah, 100%. I would teach I would
It'd be
homeschool.
hard. I feel like that'd be hard.
It'd be hard, but it's like that's why I say if I ever have kids, because like I look at it like at a fiscal point. It's like the only way I would have kids is if I know I'm fiscally supported enough to where I could homeschool my kids up until middle school.
Yeah, but it's so hard because like people, I've heard people like homeschool their kids and they're like. Well, they're kind of socially awkward. And
that's what I'm saying. You homeschool until at least middle school.
Yeah.
And then it's because like a lot of your fundamentals that you carry throughout life.
I mean that would suck because like in middle school is like, I guess not. In middle school would be all right.
That's
that's when you really get to social.
The cliques all start forming.
When kids become little assholes.
Yeah. Exactly. I feel like right when it's like, when everyone starts hitting puberty.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of little kids on pumped on hormones.
Exactly.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And that's why I say it's like you at least homeschool until middle school.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because like even right now with kids being at home, like and being taught online and stuff, like or like needing their parents to step up and teach them. I think for a parent working like full time and then being able to be there to teach their students. And plus, that's not to say that they're good even or educated at all in what the students learning.
That's the point I'm making about fiscally is like if I could fiscally homeschool if I was fiscally supported enough, that's what I'm saying is like if you are in that position, it sounds like you shouldn't have kids.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like I would only do it if I could fiscally support it.
Yeah,
I get that. That might be radical, but that's
that'd be pretty tough to base having a kid on if you could teach them or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's just being physically supported.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But,
well, then you're never really physically supported. It's hard. It's life is just.
But that's how change is enacted.
Yeah,
is like if everyone shared that same belief, then something that's causing people not to have kids is going wrong, and eventually that'll break if everyone just stops having kids, because what would break is the labor pool. There'd be no labor pool.
Mm-hmm. I think I had a class that was like talking about food and the environment and like populations and stuff, that like education is hand in hand with the amount of kids and stuff that people have. So
well, that's how I'm fairly certain that's how they used to gauge poverty. Was how you were in poverty if you had more kids than you could economically support. Fiscally support.
Yeah, I wonder.
That's how they gauge poverty. But now it's just like how a lot of words change meaning.
Yeah.
It's where, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Where'd you hear that from?
I've heard it from an old guy about it, talking about
an old guy.
Hey, old Bob, he taught me everything.
He was just pissed off probably. I had a bunch of kids and they told me I was poverty. Oh, man. So what
poverty also changes, because it's like if you were poverty of the U.S.'s poverty is like the first world. It's like
our impoverished people are like way better
living
lives
like kings. Well, and it's also like you look back 300 years ago. Like everyone's living like kings right now. Like even if you're living in poverty,
and that's kind of what like Eads talks about in sustainability. It's not just the environment. It's like how people are taken care of, and even it's not just focused on people in the United States. It's like other countries too who are way less financially available to do anything really. Like it's
like the international poverty line's like $1,600 a year. Something like that.
It's crazy, yeah. There's still people
$1,600 a year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something.
That's super.
It's insane.
That is crazy.
You imagine living off that's not even like a person.
$1.30 a day.
Jesus.
Oh man. That's the international poverty.
So that's we'll pull the calculator real quick.
So that's national? That's like
international.
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 Okay. Gotcha.
That's what I mean. Like poverty in the U.S. is you're a king. In other countries,
yeah, I gotcha.
365. Oh, that's $700 a year. Never mind. I was way over.
$1,000.
That's $1,600 sounds pretty good now.
Yeah, $1,600 does sound pretty good.
I did not know that.
That's what I mean. Like. Imagine that. That's why it's like you almost have to. Everything has to be put in perspective.
Yeah,
but we're not putting anything in perspective nowadays. It seems like.
Well, it's. I mean, rightfully, I get why that's not being put in perspective. Is because it's like you're not. It's like the whole climate thing. Yeah. It's like you're not exposed to it, so it doesn't really matter at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of the same deal. It's like you never. Most people don't travel outside of the country, so it's like you're never exposed to actual, true poverty, where you're like the favelas in Brazil or something like that, living in true squalor, like no plumbing, no electricity or anything.
And they don't even, they have to like travel miles just to get a jug full of water to bring back to their house. Yeah, it's
like our problems are a lot seem a lot.
We're stressing out about like hitting a red light or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's pretty sad.
So outside your major, Justin, what are any other hobbies you're doing?
Oh yeah, I spend a lot of time playing guitar, listening to music. Yeah, which I know we've talked about, but I'm very jealous of that guitar that you have.
Yeah. How long you been playing guitar for?
I bought my first guitar when I was just out of high school. I bought a $100 Les Paul Special.
Ooh,
which sucks. It was a terrible guitar. And I bought a little $30 amp. And
you gotta start somewhere though.
I know, but it actually ended up discouraging me from playing because I know, like, I wish I would have bought an acoustic guitar first, because electronics, you can play and if it doesn't sound good, it just doesn't sound good. And so I started playing for a little bit. I learned Hotel Californication is my first song I ever learned. Thanks, YouTube. And Marty Schwartz, shout out to him. Marty Music. Check him out if you're trying to learn guitar.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
You do? Yeah. He's awesome. But so, yeah, I learned some songs, and I got really discouraged by it because it sounded like shit. And so I took a couple years that I didn't play at all. And then when I moved into my apartment, actually with Mitchell Mabry, my junior year, that's when I started picking up guitar again. And I got a decent acoustic guitar, so then I played all the time. And then I've kind of hit spells where I stopped playing for a little bit, but now I'm at the point where if I stop playing and I pick it up again, I'm kind of right back to where I started off, and it's a lot more enjoyable to actually play a lot more different songs. And so that takes up a lot of time. I just got a dog.
What kind?
He is German Shepherd, Australian Shepherd mix.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
That's a pretty dog then.
He actually, yeah, he's a good looking dog. He's not colorful like you'd think for being an Australian Shepherd. He's just black and brown. But he's
got
a little
lot of German Shepherd in him.
Oh yeah, and it's actually funny. So like when we were running around and playing and stuff, you know how like a police dog, they're trained to like grab onto the arms of people and pull them down.
Oh yeah,
dude, this dog destroys your coat and he'll rip on it, so like chasing you, and it's really funny how he fits that persona of a German Shepherd. But
I've been on the other end of that.
It suck.
I had to actually.
Oh, you had the
sleeve on.
protection. Yeah.
I
It's
just trained
scary,
with
I'm
them,
sure.
dude. It's intimidating.
Oh yeah, dude.
those things are dogs are
Dude,
so much fun.
I had to
than you
sleeve on,
realize.
and you could still feel the pressure and the bite
Really?
of the.
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
But just think about like some of those big cats that carry antelopes and shit up trees.
True, like a cheetah even.
Yeah.
They weigh only like 100 pounds, and then they're carrying a 150-pound animal up
Yeah,
a tree.
exactly.
Man. Yeah, it's crazy.
By the way, shout out to Hank Toby for this cigar. It's actually really good.
And the humidor.
And the humidor. I think it's a nice humidor.
Yeah, actually.
Oh!
Shout out Hank Toby. I wish you could be here, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Hey, why don't you like come back up to Salina?
Yeah. How come you couldn't make your?
Okay.
How come you couldn't make your 13-hour trip here, or 11-hour trip here, just to spend an hour with me?
for the
Yeah,
podcast.
come on, man.
Come on.
Kind of dick.
Oh, it's a little bit more
dick
than an
move.
hour.
Hank.
Come on, Hank.
Hank.
Just go spend 10 minutes. Hank.
I'm joking.
Hank.
I love Hank.
Yeah, but yeah. So I guess I
What made you get a dog?
I've loved animals, so I naturally always.
Well, here's a
liked
better
them.
question. What made you get Australian Shepherd, German Shepherd mix?
I wanted some type of shepherd, I thought. And I was just trying to. Honestly, it just happened to be. I didn't have like a specific one that I wanted. My mom actually sent me a link from Facebook because I'm not on Facebook.
Okay.
These people in Fort Recovery, they had a couple of puppies for sale, $150, and I thought, you know what, it's probably about time I got one. And it was during COVID, so we're home. So I mean, it's been a nice little companion for taking up some
dude,
free time.
I love dogs.
Dude, they're awesome, man. He's so smart, and he totally exploits his intelligence.
Oh
with me.
yeah.
My dog's smart, and he acts like he's dumb.
Really?
Gets away with it. Yeah.
Yeah, my
He's smarter than you.
Yeah, he likes to push buttons, and he knows what he can get away with without getting in trouble, and it's interesting.
Was his mom a German Shepherd?
So I think he's in theory he's like 1/4 German Shepherd and 3/4 Australian Shepherd, but he only looks German Shepherd, so it's like must have the dominant.
Was
traits.
his mom majority German Shepherd?
His mom was a half and half.
Okay, so that's why he looks like the German Shepherd.
And he only looks like his mom, yeah. So his dad was the full-bred Australian Shepherd, and he took completely after his mom. He looks exactly like her, which is interesting. Because I didn't know what he was going to look like, but
because I noticed that with my dogs growing up, we had the border collie, a full-bred border collie, and then a mutt.
Those things are super smart.
yeah, I
Maggie
would
and
love.
Tar.
Yeah, I would have loved.
And they had
man.
I think Tar had maybe like 7 or 9 litters of puppies.
Wow.
And Maggie had like 5 or 7. I don't remember.
So you never got them fixed?
No,
you
no.
You had the mom or the dad?
They were all both females.
Okay.
And because that's my dad always got females when we were growing up, just because females are more docile.
Gotcha.
And they're better around kids. Huh. Like, but later on, like now our dogs, we got a male dog. Just because
it doesn't matter, kind of.
Yeah. But they had, Tar was the mutt, and she would always have giant litters. Like, I remember one of the litters, she had like 15 or something like that.
Wow. Jeez. Holy crap, man. And that's a lot of money. And
like well, she was a mutt, but so we always would just give away all the puppies. And like, it's cool as hell when people like I know come up to me and like, dude, I still have the puppy you gave us. It's like, Kit came up to me. He's like, he was talking about Miley, his dog, and it's probably been like, we probably gave that to him like 14 years ago.
Really?
Something like that.
Jeez.
Like a crazy amount of time.
So, what kind of dog was it?
The
Border Collie.
The Border Collie, and that was the one thing I always noticed was that majority of all the puppies would always look like the mom.
They took after the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like just biologically because like the mom has like the certain genes that?
I think it's just because that's like the base pair. It's like an XX chromosome is the mom.
Gotcha.
Right, it's XX and the XY is a boy.
Yeah.
And then everything starts out as XX and then switches to XY. I'm getting, and it probably has mostly to do with like a dominant or recessive traits, like certain breeds.
Oh, yeah. Dogs are a little different than us, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But that was just the one thing I noticed, like observantly. Like I don't know that I haven't researched enough of the science.
Gotcha.
To like say for certain, like, oh, it's based off of dominant and recessive genes, but it was always,
especially with dogs.
Yeah, it was always the case that they mostly took after the mom.
Yeah, I could tell, like, I think only 2 of the 8 or 9 puppies from Bentley's, my dog's family siblings, only 2 or 3 of them looked like the Australian Shepherd. All the rest of them looked exactly like the mom. So I don't know what percentage that is, but
yeah, that's what I mean. It's weird. It's interesting how that, and that was just completely just being observant. Like, that's one of those things. Like people outside of farms probably wouldn't have even ever noticed.
Yeah, true. They so did your animals? You said you trained them. Like, did you like train them as in like you did something useful for you?
Oh yeah, so like our dog Derby right now, we have him trained to. Well, first he will, if there's like deer outside of our house, outside in our field, he'll bark outside of the house, and then my dad can walk out and he'll like clap like once, and then Derby will take off after him, try to just scare him off so he stops barking, whatever. And then the other thing that we obviously have trained him to like sit, stay, whatever, come here, basic stuff. But the other thing that we train him to do is if in the middle of the night, he'll do his rounds usually.
Oh, so he's an outside dog.
Yeah, he's always outside.
Okay.
Never bring him inside. And that's mainly because
does it help them with like?
Well, it's to benefit them because it especially benefits them. Dogs will acclimate to their environment very quickly. And so it's like if your dog's completely used to being outside, this is like having a wet nose or dry nose. It's like if a dog's completely used to being outside, you bastard, Jacob. And you bring them inside, and it's like, say if it's a lot colder than it is inside, they'll usually get sick because that's too big of a drastic change. But humans are the same kind of way.
You want to stay constant.
Yeah. But Derby, we have him trained to, at night he'll go and do his rounds, and he'll go after like possums, coons, and groundhogs, and he'll tree them, and so he'll chase them up a tree, then we'll sit at the base of the tree.
Until like you come get him?
Oh yeah, he'll bark at the base of the tree, and then my dad, he'll wake up and then walk outside and then go and shoot them.
Because you don't want them around?
Yeah, because they go after our chickens.
Oh, okay. So you have like free range chickens?
Yeah, we have free range chickens.
Nice.
That's awesome. Once you let them go free range for like 20 generations, they can fly.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, so do you have some flying
Well,
chickens?
they don't. It's not like they fly off or anything, but it's like
they can move around a little bit.
Yeah, like they will fly. When we used to have the barn, they would fly from the ground up to the top window of the barn, and that's like 40 feet.
Yeah, dang.
They would fly upwards because everyone's like, "Oh, they can glide," but that's not flying. But
they have to actually power themselves.
No, like they fly up at the top, and they still do it. They fly up to trees and shit. But
that's cool. So it takes 20, like it takes a long time to.
Well, that's just my experience. The breed of chickens we had, and like the breed we had is they're a fighting cock. So like they're bred to fight originally.
That's so funny.
They're bred to fight originally, and so like they're very muscular, and they're great for being outdoors because they can
handle it.
Yeah, they can beat the shit out of things that try to go out. Like,
yeah,
I remember my dad always told me he remember seeing a hen and a rooster outside, or the hen had like chicks, and a hawk came and was trying to go after the chicks, and he said he saw that rooster take that hawk out of the air, tackled it out of the air, and then just like walked off, and the hawk like shook itself off and then flew off and didn't come back again. But we mainly just get them for the eggs.
Yeah.
And so but being a fighting breed, they're a lot more muscular, and being more muscular, their meat's a lot more like thicker and tangier, like stringier, leaner. And that's why like some game, you don't want stuff to taste too gamey, because then it's just tough. And that was kind of
I don't know actually at all with regards to that. Don't eat meat.
Yeah, but like the same deal. It's like if a certain animals, if they exercise constantly, they have like a gamey. They call it a gamey taste.
It's like tough.
Moose, buffalo, or something like that.
So it's probably not enjoyable then.
No, it's like it's don't get me wrong. Like it tastes good. It tastes fine, but it's almost like a lot of dark meat, I guess you could say.
Okay.
If you remember that.
I just remembered it was like moist, not dry.
Yeah, like it's just tougher, but their eggs are so new. Like all of our eggs that our chickens hatch, they're like orange yolks.
Yeah, exactly. That's
you can tell. Of protein
you can tell from like a factory farm egg versus a free range egg.
Yeah.
The yolk is denser. It takes like you have to poke your finger several times to break the yolk, and it's a lot like darker orange than yellow, like light yellow.
I think we still have the hen. There's a few hens. I know one for certain that one of the hens only lays double or triple yolks.
Oh, jeez.
And she only lays.
Is it like
those.
a bigger egg then too?
No, it's about the same size. It's just the yolk. It's double yolked or triple yolks too.
Is it better?
Oh, I mean, it's better for us just because it's more nutrients. Because you got to think to yourself, like all of the yolk literally makes a new chicken.
It's going to create a new chicken.
So it's always my thought process on it, like having more yolk or whatever.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get some chickens and duck. I want to get one duck. I don't know why. I just want.
That's why I always felt weird when people are like, "I eat only egg whites." And I'm like, "You're taking out the best part."
Yeah, yeah. It's just more protein, I think, in the white, and then it's more like,
fat, but the fat's in the yolk.
Yeah,
but the fats is like. People don't realize your hormones are created from fats. Like
there's a misconception about fats are bad for you.
It's only the polyunsaturated fats, like the processed fats. Those are the terrible ones. But all monounsaturated fats are amazing for you. That's like where your hormones are created from. But
that's a.
You want to take a break?
Sure.
Let's kick it.
Well, we're back, but it goes back to.
Wait.
We'll continue though, but it goes back to like order. It's like the Taoist philosophy, Eastern philosophy. It's order and chaos. Like within orders, there's chaos, and within chaos, there's order. You need both.
I always say the only way to change is through suffering, and it's just those small sufferings that when the big sufferings happen, that's when you grow through those little sufferings to. Be prepared for that big
develop your character
and develop and everything, and I've always believed that you have to suffer, and that's almost like a stoic thing where like I put myself through really hard things because it seems as though happiness kind of just falls upon me, where people just try to go against the happy, and it just seems like bad just kind of falls upon.
I think that's like. Whenever people ask me like, "Oh, what do you want to do to be happy?" or something, I always think to myself like, I don't necessarily want to be happy. I would rather have like joy, because happiness to me is like.
So there's a difference between joy and happy. You can always be joyful, but you can't always be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
You can always be joyful in what you're doing and be alive.
It's
just
carry yourself.
Yeah. It's like. Happiness to me is always short term. It's like you can just have just that little bit of high of like, oh, I feel great right now, whatever.
Quick
but like
burst of
joy is that feeling of like, oh, I'm accomplishing a lot, like I'm following my purpose, and I found a purpose or whatever. Like that's joy to me, and that's what I try to pursue.
That's something to strive for your. I mean, not that it's easier.
Don't strive for it. Do it.
Might be harder. Easier said than done, I think.
Well, because it's just a state of mind. Just like when people always like, I'm gonna work out, but it's gonna be next week. No, just do it. Get it done.
Well, it goes back to like just people will always take the easiest route, like procrastination. It's like everyone says like, oh yeah, I'll do it. So blah blah blah.
Yeah, if you really want to do it, then just fucking do it. Just get it done.
Taking a lot of times the things
it's hard. It's super hard to do.
Taking the first step is the hardest part about it.
Yeah,
Once you do
exactly.
that, then you're set. Like then you figure it out. I think it's hard to sometimes even know what you want to be, even to take that first, like figure out that what makes you.
I think we're all at that kind of, our age is like that stage in life, that discovery stage.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like when you're really at the point in life where you are making those decisions, what you think you're passionate about, what you figure out your passions, and then you can act on those or not.
Or your purpose, I guess is another way to put it. Like, yeah. Interesting.
Interesting.
Now,
That's my
Justin
word.
Keeling, you came in here with a big old pink paper with
that's just
a bunch of scribbles.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect with the podcast. I didn't know if that's what people did or not. I don't know.
Would not be the first.
Yeah,
Definitely not the first.
I just knew Stolly you'd be probably, and I think Frank and we talked about this, different things about, but just because you're a farmer, so I'm very interested in food and like agriculture and stuff and what that does to our environment. That's why I think that's one of the detrimental things that humans do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Just because, you can look at just Mercer County. It's the amount of pesticides and everything that people put on it's like why the lake is shitty.
Exactly. I mean,
just
exactly.
humans were disgusting.
Yeah, that's for sure. I just think it's really, it's mind-boggling that we have all these like ailments and stuff, but we're like, I mean, you'd think America 2021, we're sophisticated and we have modern medicine and all this, but like in reality, like United States, we're like 34th in like longevity of life and like as a total country, like we have all kinds of different illnesses that everybody goes through with their families and stuff. Cancer, I know, is huge in like Mercer County. And it takes a toll on a lot of people's lives, and I think
a lot of it goes back to I think you can a lot of those roots of that problem of like cancers and shit like that goes back to the food.
I 120,000% agree. I think I don't think you're born, like you might have like a disability or whatever, but I think like illnesses or sickness, I think you're not born with that. I think stuff in your environment impacts your own body, and then at some point it becomes chronic. Your body cannot adjust to it.
A lot of diseases are.
Yeah.
A lot of diseases are the things that you put in your body and how you treat your body.
Well, I just think like my great aunt was a botanist at OSU.
That's awesome.
I believe she helped found the botany department there, and she was a big proponent about. She was against fluoride in the water because a lot of different health effects were shown that caused by fluoridation, but the cleaning property was too high.
Yeah, are you talking about how to clean water?
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, we look to these like modern ways to like live our lives or clean water and stuff, but I think
complex.
Yeah, exactly. We were just talking about.
It goes back to Occam Fraser. Simplicity is always the best option.
I think it's in Paris. I think they use like oxygen and sunlight to clean their water. It's not use of chemicals and stuff. There's like natural properties that you can clean your water. Like that's just one example.
But here's the other thing. Like you can go even further because like why is the water need cleaned in the first place?
Exactly, because we dump all this shit on it and we ruin it.
Because we're disgusting.
Well, then we get rid of all the trees that stop the that would suck up a lot of the excess pollution.
Yeah, and the wetlands and stuff that they all filter the water. And
it's almost like the government kind of does that.
Well, yeah, and I know that firsthand because our creek was there's a big farm around us. I'm not going to say their name, but they pretty much killed everything in our creek.
Really? Like plant-wise or everything. Like everything?
And it was turned the water black.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
And
is it a factory farm type of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had a spill. And the EPA came out and they said,
Really?
"Oh, well, the levels are not high enough." I was like,
It's black.
"The water's
so,
black. Everything's
something
dead."
seems
like,
wrong
that's
here.
what I mean. It's like it's a partnership between these huge enterprises and government is like what's causing a lot. To me, at least, like I think it's like all of the wealth inequalities and shit like that. It's not the people. It's the leaders of the people. Like
it's the what's the business or the government term for this? The governmental like
lobbyists.
Yeah, but just the system, the structure of what things are put in place, kind of that feed the people who are trying to think they're doing good with like cleaning the water and or saying, oh, this is okay to this level, you know, like we're allowing them to make these decisions, and it doesn't always work out because they are lobbied to follow different things.
It follows the money.
Exactly, like a money line.
That's what I'm saying is like it's a lot of these problems that that everyone comes into contact with my observation is that at the root, it's the government's involvement in a lot of it. It's like if you allow people to self-regulate themselves, they seem to do great. Like because people will be like, "Oh, this person is doing this," and they tell everyone else. It's like the jungle, and he wrote a book about it and showed how terrible it is, and everyone's like, "Hey, this is fucked up. Like, let's not do this." Like.
So I think what about do you think like factory farms and stuff, like it's allowed by the government? Is that kind of like what the problem is? Or like, I mean, because at the base of it, there's people that are actually implementing those and making the decisions to raise food stuff and like to grow food and raise food that way, and they're allowed to do it. Is it like so you think the government like allows them to?
Well, it's like it's like a huge system at this point where it's hard to like pinpoint it. But like, to me at least, it seems like the reason why you have these giant factory farms is because they can feed these animals at huge quantities so easily. And why can you feed these animals at huge quantities? It's because the government has subsidized corn and beans to a point where everyone only produces corn and beans.
Yeah, they have what's the term, like a bottom price where they for sure, no matter the quality,
price floor. Yeah.
They pay this amount of money for this much food, like no matter the quality or anything. Yeah,
and that's what I mean. It goes back to like why, like our farm we used to grow tomato. We had tomato fields, and all of these farms around us had different varieties of foods. It's because they were not incentivized not to grow these. And that's what I mean. It's incentivization by the government to grow these specific things. It's because you have, like you were talking about, the government they will pay you this amount of money. It's like, why wouldn't that's like crop insurance without having to pay for crop insurance.
Exactly, yeah. They're guaranteed this, so they're not going to
change. It doesn't matter if there's a storm or a flood or anything, like the government's still going to give me money for this.
Yeah. Have you guys watched Kiss the Ground at all? Have you heard of it? It talks a lot about that. It's another documentary which it was fascinating to me. Woody Harrelson narrates it, but
I like Woody.
It's really cool. But it talks about like there's a farmer who I think he was based in like Texas, but for like 4 or 5 years in a row, his field he was a conventional farmer, and for 4 or 5 years in a row, his crop was like either 80% or completely destroyed by stuff. So he's like, okay, well, I gotta really make a change because he wanted to be a farmer. So he read actually Thomas Jefferson's like book. I don't know what it's called. Do you know what it is?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so he went back to the basic fundamental of like how to do pretty much, and so he changed his full farm operations, and then he actually became successful as like promoting like biodiversity, and he goes around and talks to other farmers, and this is kind of what my point of the lack of education. Like even farmers don't know how basic fundamental soil properties. They don't even know how food.
I see it every day. And it's just terrible.
It's crazy. So he is. I thought it was awesome.
I'll see fields that are planted corn 3 years
in a row. Yeah,
it's just because the generation. Soon the generation just come like, I don't really care. I'm just gonna keep on going. They don't get taught how to do it.
Even just something as simple as a cover crop to just replenish the nutrients for the soil so that you can sustain your yields and stuff without dumping thousands and thousands of pounds or whatever of pesticides and herbicides and stuff that we are then feeding to our people and animals.
Cover crops either. It's like
I know, but that's just one thing.
That's what I mean. It's like we still plow our fields
and no till. Yeah, you can do
can do no till or you can plow it, but we still plow our fields. And the reason why people don't plow their fields anymore because it takes a long time.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of time to plow a field, and. What that does for us is it takes all of let the weeds grow and whatever. Look how fast they grow. They're full of nutrients. They're weeds. They're called weeds for a reason.
Exactly.
You flip those under. Those get placed 2 or 3 feet, a foot or two below the ground. They die, decompose. They decompose. And they give the nutrients.
System.
Yeah, that's why we don't spray or anything. It's just because the weeds are also nutritious.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's different ones even for like you can plan to like certain cover crops add more like phosphorus or whatever to the soil. Then you can plan that for your next crop.
Winter wheat has always been a good cover crop. Like they've done that for a long time. But like we've put radishes and turnips and shit like that.
Do you then use those? Do you sell those then or?
No.
No,
they're just field
just to increase the quality
the quality of the soil.
Interesting,
because they grow so easily too. You just spread it pretty easily. You can spread it by hand and they'll grow.
Yeah,
I mean, the other reason why you don't eat it because they don't taste too good.
Yeah. Well, you can maybe doctor them up a little bit.
I mean,
doctor them up.
I remember one of the old farmers. What was it? It was like I don't even know, a radish or something like that. I forget what kind of plant it was, but I was like, hey, can you eat that? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And I remember I ate that and I shit for days. I was and he laughed at me. He's like, yeah, that's why people don't eat that.
Oh, really? Well,
that's what I mean. It's like a lot of those they're just so nutrient dense. That's why they're good for it. It's like you don't even have to. They're filling their value by just dying there.
That's why plants are power, man. That's why you got to eat a lot of them, right?
All right, so I guess we're gonna go right into that one.
My thought is plants are power, but the animals eat the plants and convert it to more energy. So I need.
But kind of.
Hold on. We're gonna. You are a vegetarian?
I am a vegetarian.
Not a vegan.
Not a vegan. I eat cheese and eggs.
Cheese.
So I'm but
good for you.
Yeah. So like I'm not a total food Nazi, okay? Let's just clear
well, I mean, just health wise, I'm
super fascinated in health and everything. That's why I kind of want to.
Yeah, it's very hard to be vegan. Yeah, like to truly be vegan and healthy. That's why I say
even vegetarian and healthy. Most people just resort to eating more dairy. When they're because it's considered vegetarian, doesn't mean it's healthy. So that's definitely a common problem I've seen with people. They
just like a candy bar.
Well, it's like
you could eat Oreos all day, every day. You're still a vegetarian. Doesn't mean you're going to be healthy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, it's like you have to fulfill it's like the vegan. Like when some of these people go vegan, like they don't realize that they're stopping their body from getting a lot of things they're used to getting.
Yeah,
and that's too drastic of a change. It's like nobody does good with like extreme change.
So tell us the process of how you became a vegetarian.
Well, I had always grown up. There's only a certain amount of meat that I actually enjoyed to eat, which was chicken wings pretty much. And I hated hamburgers, hated hot dogs. It just grossed me out. So, but I ate chicken. So, that was pretty much what I ate. And,
I always remember you when I was watching you eat or something. You always scoot off those big pieces of meat. And
I'm very picky. I was definitely very picky. But I mean, when I became more aware of the environmental consequences of conventional meat production and stuff, then I totally was like, okay, I need to make a change about.
Yeah, to
not
me,
supporting it.
Yeah, I hate factory farming because and everything that. And I can completely see why people go vegan or vegetarian after seeing what
exactly.
And that's what makes me mad because
they don't know about
they don't know people. There are good
ways to eat
to
meat.
Raise meat. It's
so here's my take on that. I have no problem with people who think they who eat meat. I have no problem. That's your own choice.
Yeah,
and I know I mean, you can be healthy and be eating meat.
Yeah.
So I'm not it's
gray. It's gray. So that's why
I think you could be healthier.
Yeah.
Me, the way they do it now, they pump them full of chemicals, antibiotics and stuff. And
the antibiotics, they can only pump them up to, I think it's 90 days before you slaughter them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's because they just need them healthy enough
to get slaughtered.
Yep. Yeah, so they don't care about what they're feeding them, anything. So, but then your own body, then when you ingest that, you're fighting. You're creating
it's not good
protection
for you,
of that, so you're not going to be affected by it.
That's why I say, like, if you need it annoys me because like a lot of the people that go vegetarian, vegan, they see like what happens in factory farms, and this is what annoys me is that conventional farmer, like small farms and whatever, they raise the animals like because they know they're going to kill them, so they want to give them a good life. It's like why you let a cow go out to pasture and everything, because a cow used to be at the same level as a dog. Like cows are very I raise a lot of cows, and I know that they're very emotional.
Sentient, or what's the word, sentiment beings?
Sentient,
or I don't know what.
Yeah, like they're, and I've always seen like they're emotional. They're just like a dog. Like they can befriend you and everything, and like that's why I always say like I don't have a problem with like eating meat just because I want
if
them
it's
just
raised right.
Yeah,
and it's.
But that's hard for me to say because but that's what I believe.
No, I totally. I mean, you and I talked about Joel Salatin, I think, at Solly's bachelor party, which was a great time. But so he's for people eating meat, and I totally see you guys' point with that when you're actually raising these animals ethically and in a way that it's actually going to benefit you by eating it instead of pumping you full of crap.
Don't get me wrong. Like I still eat the processed meats and everything. Like I'm not going to say,
dang it,
I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, I just
it's so hard.
It's hard not to. That's the biggest
so
problem.
much of it.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Like I would love for it to go back to small farms and everything, because that's, I feel like the biggest problem is that we've killed small farms and centralized all of our food manufacturing. It's like, they've
extended their arms everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've taken over. I see that. That's when you gotta, like how you're talking about and taking that first step.
Don't get me wrong. Like I'll buy better meat just because I know know it tastes better, because I know how much better food that's raised right tastes. Yeah. Like,
so I think environmentally, that's my number one reason for why I switched my diet. So the environmental consequences and I also I didn't care. Like most people, God, they have to have meat. Like they love it. And I just wasn't one of those.
Yeah. I could completely see that.
And I actually, there's a book called like Eat Right for Your Type. And it actually kind of talks about blood types being related to your body's ability to, ingest meat and stuff.
That's interesting.
Which I thought it was interesting, but I don't really know if I'm totally fully on board.
There's
with
like blood type, and also I've seen some stuff with like your heritage, like where you came from. Like German was big time, like potatoes. And Ireland.
And that's all a product of your environment. So like
because we're adaptable. Like evolution has caused us to adapt. So it's like wherever you're at, you're going to adapt to that environment.
Exactly. If you only have vegetables available,
you're only going to eat vegetables.
And plus that's another thing.
And you can't change that in one generation.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing is you can't change that in one generation.
And that's another point that I think is important to mention is that like you oh shit.
Oh, you're good.
Shit. I think I pulled a Stolly here.
I do it all the damn time.
Nah, it's cool. No, but the whole meat thing, I just hate to see cows in factory farms. And shit.
Dude,
and like, don't get me wrong,
sucks.
like I love meat so much that it's just like I have to eat my meat.
I love meat, like hunting. Like if you actually go out and hunt and you shoot it and you gut it and you actually process it yourself, like it just makes you feel that much closer.
Sorry,
to it.
I found out what I was going to say.
You're good.
Yeah,
That's
sorry
good.
about that.
That's good. You're good, man.
So also the thing about people eat meat like 3 times a day, you know, like for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then people make the argument, well, that's what our ancestors did. And I disagree with that because I think that how people got meat back in the day when our ancestors and stuff, it took a lot of energy and a lot of time to hunt and kill and process or drag that back to your house or whatever. It took a lot more energy to do that. And I think today it's so convenient that we eat so much of it that we don't really need. We eat too much of it, I think. And your body also only needs a certain amount of protein a day. You can't, once your body reaches the limit of protein intake, it just turns it into sugars or carbs or like I don't know the exact like terms.
Josh Evans, he's actually on the carnivore diet. Mm-hmm. So he's literally only eaten meat for 2 months now, actually, and he has lost 12 pounds just in fat. And he says he has not had a single crash. He sleeps very well. It's sustained. His energy is sustained throughout, and he feels phenomenal.
That's what I was saying. Like, I think it's very determined by the person itself.
It is.
Because like you were saying how earlier, it's like certain races or certain heritages lived off of a certain diet. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're for generations they lived off that diet because that's all they had. Mm-hmm. So it's like certain people do better with certain diets, and it's up to like you to test it out and figure out what the best diet is for you.
Like the Comanche Indians down in like Texas and stuff, all they ate was meat, and they like dominated down there. Like they just.
How long did they live? How long did they live?
They fought all the time, so they don't really know. They just killed each other.
I think if it's longevity is a question, you just got to look towards the people that eat the most seafood.
Seafood seems as though
because you look at a lot of the seafaring countries, like a lot of the port
Mediterranean.
But they're also very like spiritual. They're also very like calm, and they're not.
Yeah,
there also could be other factors.
I feel like we're trying to pinpoint a problem that's a lot bigger.
It's so much bigger. It's so much bigger.
It stems from it's like back to what we're saying. The root of that problem is a lot deeper than we're at like a very complex level of the problem.
That's true. Yeah. So like my point of that is. Even like I think the quality of fish that they were eating and stuff was better than it is today. I think.
100%. Yeah.
So
I agree.
And like now there's even fish farming and stuff.
Overfishing is a big problem.
And fish farms like people you can say it's healthier or whatever, but I just it depends on where it's coming from. So it depends.
That's one thing that is unnatural to everyone's diet is the factory farming.
Exactly. The processed bull crap that they eat.
Exactly. And like
I think the biggest problem is the carbs.
Yeah,
I think the carbs.
That's interesting. So I think that's kind of a common consensus, but
processed carbs.
But
processed carbs. Processed carbs.
Process is
like if you're making bread, like good bread,
exactly.
Then,
there's like I think they're called blue zones, and there's this guy who researched around the world the most centurions. Is that the 100-year-old livers or people who live to 100? They're called centurions. He researched their diets and the links between why they live so long, and a lot of them they're eating a lot of carbs, but they're not processed crap.
Yeah. So this is what actually I heard this. I heard it or read it. I forget what happened, but from what I heard was the United States when they grow it, they pretty much what they did was a lot of the wheat and stuff that were like dying during the winter, and they wanted to or like pesticides and like the bugs and stuff. So they made them a lot like they modified them
the GMOs.
To where it made the carbs harder to digest. It made it more carbs in it than normal wheat and everything. That's why I've heard.
Yeah, I
the
think
United States.
GMOs they modified the genetic structure of these things so that these
they're pesticide resistant.
Yeah, they could handle dumping pesticides on them.
It's like it goes back to the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah,
because what you're doing it's good intention. Like making you're going to produce a lot more. Your yield is going to be a lot higher. But what you're going to do is create pesticide resistant weeds.
Exactly, and it's also going to be consumed then things that are meant to kill animals,
plants, whatever, or
like
insects.
The insects. Yeah, like you're going to be ingesting that too. So it's I think it's pretty. It only takes some common sense to think something that was designed to kill things, living things, and you ingest it. It's probably not going to be that great for you.
100%.
I think at this point it's like so enveloped around us that like as about the only thing a lot of people can do is just limit.
It is gluten like is everywhere. It's not even. It's how
it's not even like
gluten, sucralose.
Yeah, I just say the high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup.
Like those types of carbs are just not. They're not good.
All you have to do is like when you go to a store, just pick something up and look at the back of it. And if the ingredient thing's like this big, like
no, but what I'm saying is that even if the shit is terribly bad for you, it's like you can if you take enough of you can ingest enough of arsenic and still survive.
Exactly.
The most poisonous thing. It's like as long as you're doing it somewhat in moderation, your body is adaptable and completely can be fine with it.
It can get rid of those toxins up to a point. It can, and then it becomes chronic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that the biggest problem is that they're eating too much. Everyone's just eating too much.
Exactly.
Too much of everything. It's like everything's fine in moderation, but when you overindulge, it's just always going to be bad. And that's true with everything.
It is everything in moderation. I think I definitely agree with that. It's funny to think about like how I think it's interesting that we don't like. I don't know. What do you guys think about like carnivores? You know, like you think lions or whatever, like they're healthy but they only eat meat, you know. But I think people who like,
but that's a different thing. They're different animals.
But
exactly.
That's
what my point is. Well, you were saying that guy's a carnivore only diet, right?
Yeah.
So we're not a lion. Like we aren't. I don't think.
No. But here's the one thing I've noticed from my dog. This is weird, but. Like my dog is majority a carnivore. Like he just eats meat or protein-based meals. I will see he will go out and eat leaves. Like
my dog does.
That's
sticks.
what I mean.
He loves them. All
that's
chews on sticks. It's
well,
fiber.
that's good for their bones and fiber. That's what I'm saying is like they're carnivores, but to a point, they still ingest a lot of these other things.
Because you get protein. Like I mean, honestly, from meat. You get protein. I don't know a whole lot else besides that you get from it. You don't get a whole lot of nutrients. You get some like omega-6. Omega-6 is omega-3.
Red meat, you can get some decent
But plants
nutrients.
have all that too. Like, I mean,
except vitamin K7.
Oh, you're gonna? I don't know.
I'm also.
I'm just saying.
What do you think about?
But
what do you think about
it's
this?
like you can get a lot of. I think it's vitamin K7. You can get a lot of that from like eggs and yolks and stuff. That's why I mean like. It's like people that are vegans, like they don't even eat that stuff. So it's like you have to supplement it somehow because that's a very vital nutrient in your life.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, there are plants that have those things in them too. Like you have to. That's the thing about
like algae has vitamin K. Like I'm pretty sure it's vitamin K7.
I'm not sure.
Algae is actually really good for you.
Yeah, but you have to eat large amounts of it to be comparison to what eggs or something like that have.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I think, like, just the nutrient density of meat, like, I think it's got some good things about it for sure, but then you also have to intake other forms of nutrients that you can only get through plants too, unless you're taking pills or whatever. I don't know, but like, I just don't see how. To me, it's like
all the diets, and like I've tried the carnivore diet. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I loved it just because of the amount of energy I had, and I almost guarantee you it's because of the amount of good fats I was getting from the meat. Because good fats are like what your basis for hormones are. A lot of your hormones are all created from fat. So it's like having good fats is good. And that's like what you get from your eggs and everything, eating those good fats. Like
or avocados.
Or whatever. And
love avocados.
I think all of
I eat a lot of avocados.
All of the diets, even if like each person is different and everyone can have their own diet, like all of the diets work to a point as long as it's in moderation.
I agree. I think that
it's like you can eat any food you want, like, and just as long as you just eat it in moderation, you're probably going to be fine. And
you should probably eat your meat, eat your vegetables. But you gotta enjoy your life. Eat a fucking cake every once in a while. You gotta enjoy your life sometimes.
I just what like besides like that you really like meat. Like, I mean, what health benefit do you think meat has? I'm curious. Like, I mean, what like besides the protein factor, like what else?
The
fats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I don't know. From what I've heard about this carnivore diet, there's a lot of people who have like autoimmune diseases and stuff, and their autoimmune diseases go away. A lot of their arthritis go away. A lot of their health problems go away when they just eat all meat. Like Jordan Peterson.
Like they literally only eat meat.
Yeah, only eat
like
meat.
they don't have any vegetables
they don't have
at all.
anything. It's just meat.
And
like Jordan Peterson's been on the carnivore diet for 20 years now, and what he does is he said he had a really bad autoimmune disease, arthritis, real bad, and all of it's cured. And what he does is he'll eat like 6 pounds of meat. He won't be hungry for a couple of days, and he said, "I only eat when I'm hungry. When I'm hungry, I'll eat. I get full, and then whenever." And I've been there's a lot of people who like. There's a guy named Paul Saladino, who
maybe the root of that is fat. Like not be. I think a lot of it to do with all the diets work if like with moderation and moderation.
Well, if
being
you're
like
only
fasting.
eating meat, though, that's not really moderation. That's only meat. That's a lot. I mean,
but
that's
if you're only eating veggies, you're only eating
That's
veggies.
a lot.
That's a lot.
But I'm eating a variety. You can only eat like 4 different types of meat.
You can eat
There's like 1,000
steak,
different.
You can eat beef. You can eat pork. You can eat lamb. You can eat.
Okay, so probably like a dozen.
there's a bunch of animals out
There
there.
are plenty of
billion
other
different
animals. Buffalo,
plants
deer.
How often do you see buffalo, though? I mean,
I just had a
you can
buffalo
buy it.
burger like 2 weeks ago
You can
From
go
where?
buy it.
from Wapak, a restaurant in Wapak.
interesting. Mm-hmm. I thought buffalo was illegal to kill now.
Well, you can farm it still.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in Ohio there's a couple farms you can see a bunch of buffalo.
Interesting. I just think it's crazy. I feel like we've come to a point. Like, I mean, does it even does that even make sense to only we have to kill like I don't know how many animals a year just to live? I mean, like that's not even feasible.
No, that's a whole different piece. Yeah, I 100% agree that
that's crazy,
man. The factory farming is terrible, but like we can go out and kill like a deer, and that'll feed you for.
But you have
year.
limits of how many deer you can kill, and
You don't have a limit of how many cows you can kill, and I tell you,
I know.
That's
But
why,
I mean, so
exactly. There's
I think
wrongs and right.
there's wrongs and maybe it works
you
just
have
because
to-
we have a wide variety of diets. Like maybe the whole reason why we have this much meat and the whole reason we have this many vegetables is because we have people on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's like to have this system work, you can't all eat just meat. You can't all eat just veggies because then there will be not
there's
enough
a
veggies.
balance. Yeah. I get that. I mean, I think even just
to me, the whole diet is gray. It's like
it's literally just up to the person.
It's like there's no
because I feel better when I eat meat. I feel 1,000 times better.
But is that like a thing in your brain that because you enjoy it, or is it more like your health? You feel
I don't know.
healthier?
So when I fast, like I do 24-hour fast. It was really weird when like some fastings I felt like crap. Like I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah, I wonder if you're detoxing from things too. I wonder too.
I don't know. I just felt like crap. Other fastings I felt really good. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's something I eat before. So when I eat a bunch of carbs and a bunch of vegetables and I don't know, maybe not vegetables, but I eat a bunch of carbs and stuff, my fast is terrible. When I just eat a bunch of meat, that fasting the next day is phenomenal.
Well, what's
really
the common
good.
ground of
it's
both
filling
these diets?
of those.
What's this common ground of both the diets? Is
How
the
you
carbs?
feel?
Yeah, I think it's the carbs.
It's the carbs.
It's the processed
Because it's like that's what I'm saying is you have
carbs.
both ends of the spectrum and they both seem to work for certain people.
But I mean, I can't sit here and name all the different studies, but I mean, there's a lot of studies that link animal proteins and stuff with negative health effects.
If you eat too much fat, you're gonna have heart attacks and shit like that.
I mean, if someone ate meat for 20 years in a row, I mean,
I know vegetarians who
that's not often the problem though. The problem is that they could eat meat for 20 years in a row and only eat meat. The problem is that they're not doing anything. Like that's what I mean. Is the problem that they're not is the problem that they're only eating meat, or is the problem that they're not doing anything else other than eating meat?
Because you can just shove down food, and not do a damn thing.
Yeah, if I only eat,
you can just sit down all day and do nothing. Because there's so many like.
Because maybe that's why both of our
things.
diets work. It's like the carnivore diet works for us and the vegetarian diet works for you. Is like we're both just we're almost in a circle at this point.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all up to the person and how you feel when you. I guess.
I think there's good things to draw from like both sides.
There really is.
I mean,
To be honest, like you inspire me to eat more veggies.
Yeah,
like I don't eat any vegetables at all. But like hearing people talk about like
you
living.
I mean, honestly, this is I think what is an important factor too, that you live in Salina, like which it's hard to
get
like living in Columbus. Like there are so many restaurants that they have so many different options of just different vegetables and stuff, and they prepare it differently rather than just like mashed potatoes and butter. I mean, like or steamed broccoli or stuff like that. Like they prepare it differently, and so they expose you to more of those different things that you can like because like just broccoli, even like broccoli, like just eating a head of broccoli has more like chemicals in it than we can even count. Like scientists can't even comprehend how many different nutrients and chemicals that are in a head of broccoli that if you ate it just raw, if picked it and ate it right there. It's like that's what I think the difference between eating only meat and having a lot of different vegetables is you're getting a lot more nutrients that are feeding your body, not just filling yourself up, but feeding your...
Do you have a difference between like processed vegetables versus like...
Well, so enzymes are in plants. There's different enzymes that they have. And when you cook them, then they lose some of those enzymes, which those enzymes are beneficial to your body. And that's why it's important to, as a vegetarian, you're not just going to be healthy being a vegetarian. You have to actually understand these things and incorporate these things. But like part of that is like eating raw foods. They contain all their enzymes. They're not disturbed. Like it's
that's why you can get sick from like chicken or pork
exactly.
Or whatever.
And like exactly. And like think about it. A plant like it takes its nutrients from the ground and it puts it into a form. And then if you eat it, you're eating all that goes into it. That's why I'm a big fan of like organic too. You're eating what that vegetable has become a thing like from.
This is I kind of go back to God gave us everything for a reason. I love vegetables. I think they're very healthy for you. I think meat's very healthy for you. I think it's really good. I really enjoy food. I eat everything because I do believe that. I mean, God gave us everything for a reason, so why not use everything that we can use?
And it goes back to Frank's point, I think, of just a moderation of how much. Like,
anything is just like it's like everything's detrimental.
Some people's moderation is different from the other person's moderation. So some people can eat a lot of meat, all meat, and be fine. Some people can eat all vegetables and be fine.
I guarantee you, there's some people that went on a carnivore diet and have terrible reactions to it. Like, and I bet the same thing is
for vegetarians.
There's always going to be, it's like we go back to, it's all based on the person. It's like everyone's different in just a little bit. Like, though we may share all the same DNA, we still have a little bit of differences. And that's what.
This is what I was saying. I hear these bad boys right there. It's almost like we're omnivores and we eat meat.
Yeah, that's only. That's interesting because like when people talk about like the teeth and stuff, like I mean like. Carnivores only, they have only sharp teeth. They don't have any teeth like ours are mostly grinders.
What are they, planar teeth or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a dentist here, but like the species even that we're related to closely are like monkeys. Like they don't eat meat.
Oh, they do.
Who? Which monkey?
Oh, dude, like apes, dude, when they get a hold of like a monkey, they'll fucking rip them apart and just eat them right there. Have you ever seen videos of these?
No, I have not.
It's crazy.
Okay, so we could probably agree though that their main diet source is not meat.
I'd say their main diet source is fruit.
Yeah. So that's why I think like we're genetically made, I think, for a plant-based diet. I think we're not even structurally.
Again, everyone's different. I mean, again, the Comanche people, if you derive from them, all they ate was meat.
But that doesn't mean they were healthy though.
Well, I think it's based off a point of adaptation where it's like if
your body can adapt so well.
That's what I'm saying. As long as you build yourself into it, your body we're evolutionarily we're perfect. Like you're the perfect representation of evolution. So it's like we're amazing at adapting and our bodies are amazing at adapting and overcoming circumstances. So it's like. If you allow yourself to only eat meat, your body will eventually adapt and be accustomed to that diet. And maybe if you pass that on another generation, it gets passed on.
I keep coming to this, but like a book that is called Super Life by Darren O'Lean. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was on Joe Rogan, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Oh no! I've listened to his podcast. Yeah.
So he's this like, he's a jack dude who's been a vegan. So he makes a good point that you can be like, you can feel good. Like he made this point about himself too. He was like a physical trainer and stuff, but he was eating meat. But you can be like, you can feel good about eating meat and stuff. But I think the more important thing is just how, like, for overall health, I think having less meat is better. That's what I think my point of eating meat is.
Hey, and you know what?
And the quality of it too.
It makes the world go around.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about people. Like, I eat a lot of meat. I feel like I'm decently healthy.
Do you guys, like, since you are like kind of involved with like health, do you go for grass-fed stuff then, or like pasture? Yeah. Is that like, so you actively like?
Oh, I go for the healthiest.
Yeah. Okay.
I can absolutely
well, that's good.
Get.
Yeah.
I don't. We actually, I know the person who I get my meat at.
Good.
I know what they do. I know what they feed them. I know how they do it, and and I want to go hunting to get my meat. That's natural. I don't like going to this Walmart.
It goes back to that self-sufficiency.
I don't like going to Walmart and getting meat that's trash. But you can just tell the difference.
Yeah.
Again, I agree with a lot of stuff you said. I want to get as healthy meat, healthy as vegetables I can get, everything healthiest. But I just eat meat.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
And I don't want to sound like a food Nazi that you can't eat meat. I think just like a moderation of it is important.
Moderation of everything.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the point we could all make, is just everything's somewhat fine in moderation.
I think the more veggies you eat, though, the better. For sure. Like you can't eat too many veggies.
I know. I agree with that. I agree with you can't eat too many veggies. I think that's a good place to end it.
Do you how often do you work out?
Right now with school, I've been just stressed with it, so I've been a slacker with it. I used to work out like super religiously, but then I came to a point where I was like, is it really worth it? Like, I mean, spending 2 hours at the gym every day, I didn't think it was worth it. So now I'm more just in moderation. So I go with usually like 3 or 4 times a week, and I am not like, I don't have a workout plan or anything that I consistently do the same things or whatever. I don't like track it or anything, but the more I work out, I think is good, but I don't like hold myself like to where I feel like a piece of shit if I don't work out for like a week or two. It's I think being active is more important than just lifting.
100%.
Yeah. So like I hike a lot, and so that's what
I think that's a workout by itself.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and it's more enjoyable to me too than just clanging weights around. But I do enjoy working out, just not as much as I think I used to. So just like 3 or 4 times a day. Or a day, a week. Yeah, I pretty much work out like 10 hours a day. Yeah. 4 different sessions. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Anything else? Any shout outs? Anything on your pink paper with all your scribbles down? You want to kind of trash on?
It was in case like I was really getting like
we're getting devouring into
like the technicalities.
The
stuff,
thing is,
at least I have some information to back it up. But
the thing is, we agree on the vast majority of the stuff. There's just a couple of small differences that we.
That's why we agree to disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just think health is important, and the health of our environment is also important. So I don't support factory farming meat eaters.
I'm with you there.
There you go.
I agree with
that.
Even though I don't get me wrong, like I'm I realize that.
I'll go eat something there.
I mean, that's the thing too. I'm not sitting here saying I have a perfect clean diet where I'm getting like the most variety.
It's so hard to do that.
Yeah, I mean it is, unless you.
As long as you try your best to like. To me, it's like when I'm given the opportunity, I always will choose like the healthier healthier option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
But most of the time right now, it's like hard to even get that opportunity.
I'm going to the opposite way. I'm just going, fuck you, Justin.
Well, shout out to you guys and Hank for setting this up, and it was enjoyable.
I'm glad. Great time.
Yeah, I do enjoy listening to your podcast.
He's not here. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. Yeah,
come drive back up here. 13 hours. Come on, dude.
Yeah, come on. He can still make the trip tonight. But thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. Man. Great time.
Well, definitely gotta have you back on again.
Yeah, let's chat some more. I do appreciate you guys' input. So
same with you.
Maybe next time.
Maybe I'll have some clearer notes that I can actually like. Maybe I'll give a speech.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe I'll be like, hey, listen up.
4 scores and 7 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
But, all righty. Well, thank you all for listening.
Justin Keeling, ladies and gentlemen.
Justin Keeling.
Hit him up. He's single, I'm pretty sure.
Ooh.
True that.
All righty. Peace out.
See you.